Try to paint a picture in your head of inhaling, your ribs expand, your body get long. We talk about the long spine getting taller. And then that exhale, try to visualize the abdominals so you can kind of think of each little section and kind of make it a challenge to see how much you can feel after each exhale. Because that's what we're kind of going to be working on the next couple weeks, is the breath, the breathing, and not just the in and out, but how deep it can be and what it can do for you. Now, if you are under the blocks or not, we're all going to do the same thing to start. It doesn't make a difference. So I will tell you when you need to get off the blocks, but for now, we're going to just raise the arms to the ceiling. So point those arms straight up. And as you take a deep breath, exhale, bring those arms out to the side. If you're on the floor, they both should hit the floor. If you're on the blocks, they might not. But either way, we're going to take that deep breath and we're going to expand the ribs and slightly lift the chest towards the ceiling. And then our exhale is still going to be tightening those abdominals, starting a little bit with the upper, then maybe a little bit the lower, and then the outside as we finish that exhale. And then our deep breath comes in. We expand the ribs, we lift the chest, we can almost pinch the shoulder blades a little bit. And then we exhale, and if it's easier if you just start at the lower abs and then go up and out, that's fine, but get all that air out. And again, inhale deep. Now we're going to take those arms and bring them to your side. They should be palms up. And your knees should be bent, which I think you pretty much all are. If not, that's fine. Sometimes you have options, sometimes you don't. So in either position, we take that breath in. We lift the chest a little towards the ceiling. As we exhale, we're engaging the abdominals. So that's a constant. This time, as we inhale, we're going to think about picking one arm, and as you exhale, you're going to reach that arm down as if it was going to touch your ankle. And you're going to leave it wherever it gets, so that on the next exhale, we can do the other arm. So now with both arms extending as far as they can away from your ears, we still inhale to lift the chest, and we still exhale and pull those shoulders gently to the floor. So now you should have a little bit more stretch through the neck and the shoulder and a little pinch in the shoulder blades. Now at this point, we're going to do some stuff with the lower body. So if you're on the blocks, you might want to come off of those right now. Just roll to your side and push the blocks away. And then get flat on your back with your knees bent. Your feet are going to be shoulder width apart. If you're already in that position, then we can just spread those toes and get ready to do some stretching. But your upper body still has those fingertips reaching towards your ankles and your shoulder blades slightly pinched. So feel those muscles right in the middle of your back activate. And still breathing, even though I didn't tell you to. All right, we're going to think about those arms staying long and bring them to the side now. So we're going to take them out to the side like we did in the beginning, like we're making the letter T. Fingertips are reaching away from your body and shoulders are down on the floor. We're going to take those knees to one side. So a couple of windshield wipers to start with. Pressing those knees down, pressing the shoulders down. And then taking it to the other side. So remember, as your knees press down, the opposite shoulder presses down a little bit. So let's inhale deeply. Exhale, take those legs to the other side. We're still exhaling. Now we inhale, exhale to the other side. Once it gets down, we still have a little exhale left. And one more each side. Inhale on the way over. Ultimately, inhale and exhale what's comfortable to you. Inhale, other side. But just remember, most of the time you have a little more exhale in you than you realize. And it's that last little breath that's going to get those obliques. As we take this back up to the top, we're going to go ahead and push your lower back to the ground. Do that pelvic tilt. You're going to push your tailbone to the ceiling. As you're doing that, push those lower abdominals into your belly or into your tailbone. Then release. So let's add the breath here. Inhale. Exhale. You're pressing that tailbone up. Keep going. Then again, inhale. Let it relax or stretch the opposite direction. Exhale, press it downward. Get those lower abs nice and firm. And as the hips come back to neutral, let's take your legs up. We can grab under the knees and gently pull it towards your chest. So remember, when we're using the hands, we're helping. We're not using the hands to pull. So if we had to do this with no hands, we're just pulling and rotating the hips towards the chest. So deep breath, expand the ribs. Exhale, pull the shoulders away from your ears. Tighten those abdominals. One more time. Inhale, expand. Exhale, shoulders pull away. Keep exhaling until you get that nice and tightness. Good. Then we're going to bring those feet back down again. We're going to windshield wiper a little bit wider. So take your feet either to the edges of your mat. You can even take your toes or your pinky toes a little beyond the mat. Arms are going to return to your sides. We're going to pull those shoulders a little bit away from the ears and take a deep breath. As we exhale, legs go to one side. As we hold and finish our exhale, we're pressing the knee to the floor. Then we're inhaling, exhaling all the way over to the other side. Continuing to press towards the floor as we finish our exhale. And then inhale, exhale as we go to the other side, pulling the belly button in, pushing the knee down, finishing that exhale. And we're going to go one more each way. So take it in, expand that chest, begin to rotate. Exhaling and pressing to the floor. Then inhale to the other side. Exhaling as you start to move through and get to the bottom. And then we can relax and bring it back to neutral. We're going to take one leg. Let's take your right leg and put it onto the left knee. And then we're going to just take that right leg and we're going to just move that leg back and forth. Kind of like if it was a butterfly wing. So just kind of moving it back and forth a little bit. And then we're going to stop and we're going to take our hands, get them mid-thigh and gently push that leg away from the hip. So very gently, just feel like you're almost massaging it away from your hip. Pressing right in the middle thigh. Feel that space between the leg and the hip. Take a deep breath. Exhale as you push. One more time. Inhale. Exhale as you push. And then we're going to take those hands and move into our figure four. So first thing though, you're going to lift the leg off the floor and pull it into your chest. No hands. So just using that lower body to hold itself there and feel that stretch. Then we can bring the hands under the legs. Just help support them. Just want you to get used to getting that feeling of the hips coming back towards your face all by themselves. So at this point, we can inhale. And as we exhale, we can think about just moving the hips back towards your face. So remember, it's not pulling with the hands. It's gently moving the hips. Very small motions. Continue your breaths. Then as you exhale, think about pushing that right leg away from you. We still inhale to get that nice long spine, and then we exhale, and we're going to keep that hold, but also push the leg a little bit away from you. And then on this one, we release. Bring that leg down, cross the right leg over the left, and we're going to do our hip stretches. So let those legs fall to one side. Your shoulders can be, or arms can be out to the side or by your side. Still pushing the shoulder one way, legs the opposite. Take the deep breath, expand those ribs. Exhale, take those legs to the other side. Once you finish the exhale, hold. And gently push those legs towards the floor. And then we can inhale and exhale back to the other side. Again, pressing those legs to the floor and pressing the opposite shoulder down there too. Holding for another breath. And then as we inhale, we take it to the other side again. Exhaling through, getting to the bottom and really focusing on using those legs to stretch themselves by pushing them to the floor. And stay here for a couple breaths. So this time as we come up, we're going to take those legs apart. And go ahead and pull the knees into the chest. Remember, you're rolling into a ball and the hands are there to just kind of help the legs stay there. If you want to, you can separate the legs a little bit towards the shoulders and stretch a little more of the inner thigh as you pull those knees back towards you. And then we'll take that down. And we'll take the left leg and put the left ankle on top of the right knee. So before we do anything, let's make sure we have a good position. Pull the shoulders down towards the hips. Pull them down towards the floor. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, pull the belly button in. Push those lower abs to the floor. Good. Now we can take our hands and we can put them on mid-thigh. And as we inhale and expand, we can exhale and gently push that leg away. Think of it more as stretching that leg away. So inhale. And then just a gentle press separating that leg from the hip. Then on this one, we're going to relax the arms. We're going to lift the leg off the floor. So remember, no arms at first. Lift the leg off the floor as if you're pulling that knee into your chest. Holding it right there. And then we can add the arms to help support that leg to hold that position for a while. So go ahead and wrap those hands around that right leg. Now as you do this, if you're very tight, your shoulders might lift up. Try to push them down a little bit, even if you end up losing some of that leg stretch. So upper body should be relaxed. We inhale deep. We exhale and see if those hips rotate a little more towards us. So not pulling on the legs. Deep breath. Exhale. Oh, and I did forget something. That's okay, we're going to do it next. We're going to go ahead and put that foot down, but before we do our side stretches, we're going to take that side and butterfly it a little bit. So pushing it forward and then in, so just think of it a butterfly like we were on the floor. Well, I guess we are on the floor. Just loosen out a little bit. It'll still help us on these stretches. So we're going to cross that leg completely over, and we take our breath. And exhale, letting those legs fall to the side and returning our arms to the side like the letter T. If you're not already there, you can move those arms that way with the palms to the ceiling. So deep breath, exhale, press those legs to the floor. This next inhale brings us over towards the other side. Halfway through, we're exhaling, pulling the abs in. Pushing the legs to one side, Pushing the opposite shoulder down, trying to get that deep stretch through the hip. We'll hold for a breath. And then as we inhale, we'll exhale to the other side, pulling in those abdominals. Continuing to press those legs down, finishing that long exhale. And then staying there for another breath. Remember, long exhale. Feel those outer abs. This inhale is going to begin. And then we're going to start to bring our legs to the other side as we exhale for one more. So focus on where your shoulders are. They're away from your ears and on the floor. Legs are pressing down as we hold for another breath. And then as we bring that back to the center, we're going to bring those legs in. And, most of you probably have your blocks close by, right? All right, well, grab your block. Oh, there it is. Grab your block. Go ahead and take it between your feet so that you can put it on the floor. This is also, we don't have to lift the head. But if it's already down there by your feet, then you're all set. Make sure it's on the flat side, so it's on the short side, not the tall side. Arms are going to stay out to the side. We're going to put both feet on the block with the heels and soles of your shoes, our feet touching each other. So now we are in our butterfly position. So once those legs are in that position, we pull those shoulders down a little again. And then we're going to take a deep breath. We're going to exhale and just gently pull the belly button and lower abs in. On this next inhale, I want you to think about feeling how your rib cage wraps around the front and back of your body so that when you inhale, you're actually feeling some of your back stretch. So let's try and think about that. Inhale. Try to feel some of the lats pulling out to the side. And then exhale. Pushing the abs, the belly button, the low back into the spine. From here, we're going to bring our hands and place them by your sides. You can keep the palms up or you can keep the palms down if you want to use them for a little leverage. Either way is fine. We're going to bridge, so take your deep breath. As you exhale, just lift those hips gently off the floor. Does not have to go real high, but as you do that, I want you to pull the lower abs and squeeze the butt. And then we're going to put that down. So instead of trying to go super high to stretch the hips, we're going to focus on the lower ab and the glutes. So work those hands away from your ears. Inhale. Exhale up. Lift a little bit. Use that exhale to pull those lower abs in. Squeeze your butt and yes, your lower back, of course. Hold right there. Take a breath in again. And exhale. Once you finish that exhale, you can bring it all the way down. Good. And you can just butterfly those legs a little bit in that position. Just a little bounce up and down. And then we're going to bring them both together so the knees touch and point to the ceiling. But don't get comfortable because we're going to inhale, exhale, open them. Think about pressing the knees to the floor. Inhale and bring them up. Exhale, push them down. Feet come together. You're pressing your knees to the floor. One more time. Knees up. If it helps you to use your hands to press down, that's fine. Exhale down. You should really feel like a frog now, okay? So as we relax for a moment in this position, we're going to bring those legs back up. Put our feet on either side of the block. Just leave them there for a moment because we will do our full bridge here. So now as we inhale, we expand those ribs and the back. We're going to exhale and peel that tailbone off the floor. This time you are going to try to think about pushing the hips to the ceiling. Feel some stretch in the front of the hips and go ahead and tighten your lower back. Bring it down slowly. So even though we could push through the heels and use the hamstrings and the glutes, we're going to opt to not focus on them, but focus on the hips and low back. So inhale, exhale up. Focus on the low back and the hips, pushing through to the ceiling. When you finish that exhale and rise, you can go back down. Nice and slowly, still pressing that one vertebrae into the spine. Good, and then one more time. So inhale, exhale up. Focus on getting that stretch in the hips. Squeeze that lower back. And then ease it all the way down. Are y'all still awake? Some of you? Okay, good. We're going to take that block to the side because you're going to roll over onto your side. So pick whichever side you want. Don't worry, this next one will wake you up. Take your block, bring it up, take it under the front knee or the top knee. So it means your leg that's closest to the ceiling is going on top of that block. If you have two blocks and you want to use one to support your head, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, as we have this leg on the block, we're gently going to put some pressure of that leg into the block. So just enough pressure to feel a little bit of that inner thigh, but not so much that we're making anything uncomfortable. So inhale, exhale, and press that gently into the block. Now relax. Your top arm now is going to actually reach away from your shoulder. So your top arm should be in line with your bottom leg. So now as we inhale, we're going to gently press the leg into the block and reach the upper arm away. Not going to feel like much, but as you start to exhale more and more, you're going to feel more of those side obliques. So relax everything. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, it's a gentle push into the block and a reach with the arm. Keep that exhale long, squeeze those abdominals. Good. Then we're going to take that top arm, bring it straight up to the ceiling. And as you take your deep breath on this one, we're going to exhale and allow that arm to fall behind you. So the only thing you're focusing on is just the stretch. Inhaling and exhaling while you hold that arm, allowing your body to sink back wherever it wants. One more inhale, exhale to relax. Bringing that arm back to the top. And now that it's nice and long, we can take that heel up behind you. And we can bring that arm and maybe grab the toe. If not, then you're just going to keep them in the same spots, or you're going to think of reaching that arm towards the foot. In this position, our leg will be slightly angled. Your bottom leg. One leg is still on the block. The top leg is on the block. The bottom leg is the one you're bending behind you to stretch. It's the pretzel. That means the top arm is grabbing the bottom leg. Make sense? Okay, if not, just go back to sleep, okay? And you know what? If you don't do the same one, it's okay. You're still doing something good. So as this foot is the bottom leg, might come in a little bit into that internal rotation. So we can either hold it here and stretch the front of the leg, or we can gently press that leg towards the floor and stretch a little bit of that inner thigh. I know, it might be too easy for you. You might be thinking, where's the deep stretch? All right, as we release that, we're going to gently let go of that leg, let it come back down. We don't want the leg to be so tight that it springs and snaps away from us. So we're going to roll back onto our back to go to the other side, taking your block with you. So we're kind of focusing on the top leg first, and then we'll get to that bottom leg. So you have about a 90-degree angle with that leg. If it's tighter, then you can actually move it further away from you. Bottom leg is just straight. So first thing we're going to do is just take that top leg and gently press it into the block. And then release. So do that again. Gently press that leg into the block. And release. So remember, you're not trying to push real hard. It's a very subtle thing, okay? Your top arm, the one that's closest to the ceiling, now is going to go straight, as if you're trying to reach away from you. So as we inhale, we're going to exhale and gently push that front leg into the block and push that arm further away from your ear. So as if you're trying to reach your toes, but they're a little bit far. And then relax. Let's get that deep inhale, because we're going to focus on the exhale here. As you exhale, we're pressing that leg into the block. You're extending that arm, continuing your exhale and extending. So you should feel the outer obliques on the arm that's stretching. That means if you feel something on the front side of your body, that's what we're talking about. So relax. Let's go ahead and get one more. Deep inhale. Exhale, gently press the leg, reach that arm away. Finish off your exhale so you can get it really tight in that side. Good, and then relax. At this point, we're taking that arm as closest to the ceiling, straight up in the air. And as you take your deep breath, we're going to let it slowly go backwards. And then just continue to breathe. Now, your bottom shoulder would be on the ground. You may end up finding that as you rotate, it moves a little bit. That's okay. If your upper body changes a little bit, that's fine, but just keep that knee on the block. Deep breath, let it relax. Give it another breath. Now that leg that's on the floor, that's what we're going to focus on next. So this arm is coming straight back up to the ceiling. The leg that's on the floor is going to bend. Then hopefully we can drop this upper arm and find our foot or our toe or some body part. And grab whatever you can and hold. So the goal would be to ultimately be back on your side and have that top shoulder pulled back slightly and be holding that quadricep stretch. Maybe even push the bottom leg back just a half an inch just to get a little deeper stretch. And since that leg will point towards the ceiling automatically, if we want to create the inner thigh stretch, we can push that leg gently towards the floor. So there's definitely different ways you can make this work for you in different ways, but make sure you're still breathing and make sure those shoulders pull back. So now when we're ready to release that, we do it gently. So we slowly walk the fingers away, let that leg come down. We're going to finish our little rolling over so that we roll onto our stomach. We're going to have our hands under our chin. Or you can put your forehead on your hands, whichever is more comfortable. But we're going to focus on one leg lifting off the floor a couple inches. And then I want you to think of that leg pulling away from you. So somebody's dragging you across the room by pulling that leg. So it's coming a little bit away from the hip. And then we can relax it. Now it's longer, so we got to do the other one. So lift it up a little bit. We can inhale, exhale, and push that leg away. And keep breathing as it pushes away more. Good. Put that one down. We're going to do it one more time. So really think of lengthening that leg. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the leg a little off the floor and then push it away from you. Learn how to pull it away from that hip. and then down. And we're going to get the other one. So as we inhale, exhale, lift a little, and then push it away from your hip. Good. Then we can take that one down, and we can bring the hands to the side. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. Your elbows can stay close to your side. You're going to inhale, and you're going to exhale up to whichever position you want. If you want to do like a mini cobra, if you want to come up and stretch the abdominals, whichever way you want to do. Okay, and don't worry about where you are right now. Just inhale and exhale. Think about dragging the abdominals towards the ceiling a little bit, stretching them. You can even do it flat on the floor. Good. As we come down, you're going to take a deep breath and push back onto your hands and knees. And then you're going to do dog chasing tail, so that we can do our cat and cow. That makes sense, right? Dog chase tail, cat and cow. So from here we have those arms underneath your shoulders, elbows, wrists in line. We take a deep breath. We exhale. We find those lower abdominals. We begin to push those. Then the belly button. Then everything else. Exhaling, pushing those arms away at the top. And then inhale. Exhale down, pressing the belly button to the floor first, lifting the tailbone, moving into cow. We lift the chest a little bit, and we pull those shoulders away from your ears, stretching the abdominals. Now we go back to cat. As we inhale, we exhale, pull those lower abs, then the belly button, and then we push all the way up. Pushing those arms away to stretch that upper back. And as we release, we come down, taking that tailbone up, and then focus on the shoulders, pulling away from your ears as you extend through the front of your body. Stretching those abdominals. And then as we inhale and exhale on this one, we come back to tabletop. And we can take the legs together or apart and sit back on them. So whether you want to push your butt to the floor, or whether you want to keep your feet up and kind of push your butt in the air, whichever one you want to make it feel good. Just feel that stretch in the lower back. So this time when we come back up, you want to find your block. Find your block. We're going to put it nice and high on one side. And we're going to stay in this tabletop position because we're going to stretch the shoulders. And if you happen to have two blocks and you want to do both arms at the same time, you can. I just didn't grab two. So if you have one, that's fine. What we're going to do is come up to tabletop, take our deep breath, and as we sit back, we're going to press the chest to the floor. So you can sit your butt back, but then start pressing your chest to the floor. If you do not feel much stretch in the shoulder and chest, then just simply move your block a little more forward. If it feels like you can't reach the block, move it backwards. So basically you customize this. You want to feel the shoulder and the chest, so right in the front area where your armpit is. As we press the chest to the floor, that's what you want to feel. So this time, as we come back up, take that arm off, leave the block there. Take the opposite arm, cross it over you and onto that block. Okay, as we sit down, you're going to get the outer back to stretch. And you won't be able to sit as far. Just only go to what's comfortable. But I want you to feel how that back starts at your hip, goes all the way up to behind your shoulder. So yes, you can also take that hip and push it away a little bit. So whatever arm is on top, you can take that hip and push it to that same side. Whatever you want to feel deeper into that stretch from the hip up to the shoulder. And you're slowly easing down or holding. And if you're holding, you're using your breaths. Good. And then we bring it back up nice and gentle. Bring that arm back. Now if you have one block, you're taking it to the other side. I suppose if you had two blocks, maybe you could have done that. I don't know. All right, so we have the other arm. and we're sitting back. You know what you're doing, so you might already be there. As we sit back, if you don't feel like there's much stretch, because sometimes it's different in each arm, just slide that a little forward, or you might have to push your butt back a little more. But again, the stretch we're going for is the chest, the shoulder, so again, the front of the armpit. We tend to forget that our chest kind of starts around the armpit. So as we're using our nice breaths, exhaling down, pushing the spine back towards your feet a little bit. And then we can bring it up top. Bring that hand in, take the other hand, cross it in front of you, and take it to the block, and exhale back. In case you're wondering, your bottom arm that's doing nothing right now can be wherever you want it to be. So as we're sitting back, again, focus on how that muscle starts right there behind your shoulder, that's part of your back, and goes all the way down to your hip. And if you're not really feeling it in your hip, then just kind of push your hips to that side, and you'll feel it deeper. This is how we can have shoulder problems that affect our hips and hip problems that affect our shoulders. As long as you're breathing, you'll be okay. Now as we come back up to the center, we don't want to forget our wonderful new stretch that has multiple names. We're going to go ahead and stay in tabletop. Take your right knee, cross it over your left knee or behind your left knee. So right leg, right knee crosses behind your left knee. This is twister. Left arm is going to come down to the ground. Now ultimately, we want to pull it back towards the knee, but we're going to start either here with it straight down or even across the body to help you balance. So whichever's better. You're going to feel like you're going to fall on your butt. It's part of the stretch. We're going to take the other arm, we're going to extend it forward. So our chest is facing the ground. One arm is reaching away, the other arm is wherever. That's nice and technical, huh? Now what we're going to do is try to sit back a little bit. When we do that, we're going to let that right leg kind of move away from the left a little bit. And we're going to take that right arm and move it a little bit away from everything. So keep it small, otherwise we will fall on our butt. Now if that elbow of the left leg is way far away, maybe we can bring it back an inch or two. So we don't have to rush into everything, but a little bit here, a little bit there. This should be deep into that left glute or left hip, whatever you want to call it. It should feel wonderful. You got that? Okay. Just hold for a little longer and then we will bring it on in. Taking that leg back to normal. Feeling how wonderfully loose that was. Yeah. Then we're going to take the other side, which is probably not going to be as bad. So what is it called? Left leg over the right knee. Just remember, if you feel like you're falling, that's normal. That means, what is this called? Right side. Right arm is out. So what I've been practicing with is just leaving it a little bit further away. Ultimately, it's supposed to be on the knee, but I leave it a little further away just so I don't fall over and I can keep the hips square to the floor. And again, sometimes crossing it over your body helps to balance, because we got to be balanced to just get into the thing here. So once we get there, then we're going to take the opposite arm, so that would be your left arm, and extend it forward. Makes you appreciate the pigeon, doesn't it? So at this point, hopefully we're still standing, and we're going to inch that arm forward while we kind of inch that left leg behind you a little bit. You can also just sit back towards your butt. But there's a couple of things working on here. Yes, you're stretching the glutes and the hips and all that stuff in that side and that right side. But as you extend that left arm, remember how we talked about the shoulder goes all the way down to the hip? You're getting that section too. So we kind of getting two things in once, which is better than having to do them separately. Anyways, always good to get many things done at one time. So we can bring it back to the center. Go tabletop. and come across. Okay, so now, good news is, no, sorry. The good news is we're supposed to do actually repetitions of that one, so we would normally do like 5 of them repeated. Wait, is that the good news? No, the bad. Anyways, whichever one it is, we're not going to do 5 of them yet. That might be your bad news, I don't know. But we are going to come and sit on your butt. I know, I don't want to put you on your back the whole time. We are going to save a couple of minutes to do our straps with the legs. Okay? But we're going to try to bring these feet in, because that's also part of our inner thigh goal. Get these babies looser. And if you can't sit straight up, you can just put your hands behind you. I'm not ashamed to be unflexible. I should make that a t-shirt, right? I'm unflexible, it's okay. All right, so we'll just bring this leg up and down. So just like we did on the floor, just kind of moving. It's just active range of motion. Ooh, that looks nice, Linda. She's got it fancy over there. I don't think I can do that, otherwise I'd show you. She's kind of rocking both. I told you I can't do it. She's doing both at the same time. I'm doing one at a time because that's about all I can focus on. So either way, but you're just pressing those knees to the floor like you did when we were on our back. Now you can see what you're doing. Okay, from here, we're going to sit up nice and straight, or as straight as you can. Now, that means some of you are going to be able to grab your toes and lay flat. Other ones like me, we're going to have to grab our shins and just sit up tall, that's all. Nothing crazy. Good, and then we can work it back around. One foot in front of the other, maybe sit a little more forward this time because we're a little bit looser. But we're focusing on the spine lifting to the ceiling. Yeah, don't feel like we're done because we're in this position, because we're not. I promised you some straps to stretch with. If I left you on your back the whole time, you'd fall asleep for sure. So we're gently using the hands here. We look like we're so lotus, but we're using the hands to actually press those legs to the floor a little bit. And that's helping us to lift our spine longer and lean forward from the hips. So now, here comes the fun part. Switch sides. Yeah, that doesn't make you feel weird, right? Because we always go to our normal ones first. All right, so same thing, sitting up tall, we can gently press these legs away as long as we stay tall. We're slowly moving the body forward so that we can hinge at the hips and stretch that lower back. Isn't it wonderful that there's so many different positions we can stretch the lower back in? Like, hey. Alrighty then, you can keep one leg bent and extend one leg. And grab your stretching strap. And we're going to put it around one foot. Either way, you can go half and half, or you can just loop it around, whatever you want. So while we are here, we're going to sit up nice and tall. Legs can be straight, but they don't need to be locked. And we're going to hinge at the hips forward. So remember, we're light in the arms. First, we hinge with the hips forward. And then we just use the strap to hold us in that position, because it's probably not a normal position for us. But we don't pull our bodies on the strap, we're just using the strap to keep this position. So we take a deep breath, we exhale and we drop those shoulders. And then we inhale and we exhale, trying to bend at those hips a little more. Now if it's more comfortable for you to have this leg bent, you can do that. But we are also lifting the body off the hips and then coming forward a little more. Now, as we straighten our body up to a nice relaxed position, so to speak, we're going to take this up a little higher onto the ball of the foot and pull it back. Now you're going to use your hands. Now you get to use your hands to pull that back and stretch the calf. So keep it down if you can. If it comes up a little bit, that's fine. But I want you to focus on your calf stretch and then just let it relax. So like no tension, and then use the strap to pull your toe back and stretch your calf. And then no tension. And boom. Shoulders are back. We still have a good posture. Good. Relax. Other leg. first we start with the stretch, which is hinging at the hips. So before we use the strap, we just bend forward at the hips. Trust me, I am bending forward at the hips. Might not look like it. And then we can use the strap to hold us wherever we are. So that just kind of keeps us in that position. So now we can really focus on extending the spine to the ceiling, pulling the belly button in, and then maybe hinging forward a little bit more to get that hamstring stretch. So again, arms are loose because we're just using them to hold that position, make it a little easier. So breathe again, lift that spine way up. It's amazing how we start to slouch when we're not paying attention. And then come forward just a little bit. And then as we bring that back to normal, and we sit nice and tall, we move it up to ball the foot. It might already be there, but I know you weren't pulling on it. Of course you weren't. You're gonna pull that toe back, stretch that calf. There we go. Oh, hello. And then we're going to let it relax. So remember, relax means no tension on anything. We take a deep breath, we exhale. For once in our lives, we get to pull with the strap. And then we can relax it and do it one more time. It's a little on the edge here. Okay, exhaling and pulling that toe back. Oh, I know. It was St. Patrick's Day yesterday. That's where everybody is. And relax. They're probably still sleeping. We're going to bring this around and come on up. Although, like any holiday, if it's on a Friday, it goes all weekend, doesn't it? All right, so with these straps, we're going to take them outside your shoulder width. I'm kind of worried because it was really busy in the morning, like people that aren't usually there in the morning, so they probably started early. All right, knees are bent. Take your hips and you're going to just put them right under your shoulders, taking it to one side. We're going to reach that hand to the ceiling, so we're lifting that spine up. And again, that stretch from the hip all the way to the shoulder blade, other side. The more you become aware of these muscles and where they start and where they finish and where you can feel them, the more you're going to feel them each time we do everything. So as we come back to this side one more time, we have that bend, we have that reach. Now really think about feeling it right above the hip. And then back to the center, other side. So when we say to lift, I want you from now on feel that area. I'm going to point to it right here in the hip, right above here, and now it goes all the way up to behind your shoulders. Okay, that's your homework. Good, bring it back center and on down. So we pull that head back, we pull the shoulder blades back. And when the shoulder blades go back, that doesn't mean that we push our hips too far forward or too far back. They stay right underneath us. That's the other thing you have to pay attention to from now on. Okay? So take a deep breath. I guess we can't really, drop those. Take a deep breath up. Yes, cut that body in half. And down. One more time. So as you lift, you're lifting the upper body away from that lower body. Good. And then you're relaxing down. There you go. Something a little different for today. Yay, we survived. But you'll be ready next week when we do multiple repetitions of our new extended swan, also known as dead pigeon.